4 years ago, New Hampshire created the position of child advocate to bring more accountability to state services after a series of high-profile child fatalities. As the first to fill the position, Moira O'Neill didn't waste any time seeking that accountability. Now, as her first term comes to an end, she's moving on, but the work continues. And Moira O'Neill is our guest this morning on Close Up. Thanks for joining us, Moira.
Good morning, Adam. Thanks so much for having me.
So first off, tell us why you decided to step back from this position after just one term.
Well, thanks for the opportunity to talk about that. You know, it was a very, very difficult decision. This is a really terrific job. It's a real gift to be able to use all of my skills and talents and experience to put forward important issues in improving systems for kids. But setting up the office, going through all of the trouble of establishing, how it functions. We really strengthened the office through the more legislative process to make sure that it's independent. People can count on it for being neutral. And we expanded the jurisdiction of the office so that all children have access to the services of the office. And now that it's all sort of set and ready to go on in a more sustainable way, I thought that it would be best to take my presence out of it to be sure that everyone recognizes this office as the office and not as Moira O'Neill, so that people will respect it and expect consistent, sustainable and reliable support and advocacy for children in New Hampshire.
You were on the job for about a month, as I recall, when you had a case that really, I think, set the tone for your tenure, and that was 6-year-old Preston Edmonds in Derry, a child fatality in a unique situation because the father had asked for help ahead of time, and the voluntary services were just not there. He could not receive state assistance. You spoke out on this immediately and said this is something the state needs to fund, and very quickly the state Senate got that funding in place, and that money was on its way. That was a big change, both in the quickness of the response and in having someone like you speak out like that. And you weren't just taking on DCYF, you were taking on lawmakers and their spending priorities. So do you worry that the next child advocate will be more of a go along to get along type and wouldn't do something that bold?
Well, I would hope not. And I would hope that we've set a path for this office for people to that demonstrated for people to see that what the office can do. I mean, that case, as tragic as it was, and we've been in touch with Preston's mother through the years to make sure that we were always on course to advocate in the way she would want, then she would expect Preston to expect. But really, the expectation of the community is that the advocate is going to be someone who's speaking out. And we're just finishing up a process for a 4-year strategic plan that the office is barely part of. Well, instead, we've pulled together people from all over the community, all sorts of stakeholders, to help us figure out what are the priorities and what needs to happen going forward, for what can people expect from the office. And that demonstrates that the office is not one person. It's not the office, it's the community and what they expect. And it's an opportunity because of our privilege to access information about children that's really highly confidential, and there's great reasons not to be sharing information about children all the time. But because the office can do that, and because the office can prove to people that they're an independent, neutral party, there can be trust that we're looking at what state agencies are doing, making sure that everyone's following the law when the laws are not strong, helping to change those laws. So this is really a great resource to folks in protecting children and furthering a system that will serve them better.
Big part of the struggle of DCYF reform has been hiring and retention, and we talked about this before, the issue where they fund a lot of positions, but unfortunately the state doesn't pay as much as surrounding states. So in this very difficult work, it's very easy for these people to say, okay, well, I'm going to go to Maine or Massachusetts or Vermont and be paid a little bit more for this difficult work that I'm doing. Are the hands of administrators tied in the reform process for as long as this structural disparity exists?
So that really is a reality, Adam, and a great example is Senate Bill 14 that was passed in 2019 that really expanded the system of care for children and really set up, a possibility for children to receive services, stay home, do well, and have great futures, and never actually get involved in child protection cases or juvenile justice cases. But there were delays in getting that set up and implemented. And now that we're finally seeing contracts programs coming up, we can't staff them. And this is an example of where the Office of the Child Advocate, while it has jurisdiction over children's services, it's not just about individual children and services being provided. It's the big picture. It's recognizing that if New Hampshire is not a family-friendly state, if New Hampshire is not doing what it needs to draw professionals, young professionals, hopefully with families, to the state to live and work, we're not going to be able to see the system of care roll out or any of other services. We're going to continue to struggle with child protection, filling positions, because as you say, it's very easy to go over 3 different borders and make more money. We have to make this a state where there's supports for families and the families of professionals who are doing the work. Things like paid family leave, things like safe schools, things like an atmosphere where people feel welcome and they can afford to live here. You know, things like property taxes. All of those things impact all the way down the road how we're going to be able to serve children and what kinds of adversities children are going to face over time.
Your annual report is coming out, and again, you've kind of adapted to the pandemic as this major event that's happening not just in all of our lives, but in the lives of children. You report that 161 kids in New Hampshire experienced the death of a primary caregiver between April of 20 and June of 2021. That is a staggering statistic.
It is staggering, and it's one example of how many ways that children have been affected by the pandemic. They're not able to go to school, they're losing family members, they're losing touch with each other. We have a significant exacerbation of mental health crisis that was already in place before the pandemic happened. All of this is stress on children, and that's why it's so important that the basic public health is acknowledged and followed. Masks, distance, hand washing, vaccination. These are all simple steps that adults can take that children will benefit from so they can get on with their lives. We are seeing children really, really frustrated. I hear all the time in my office from kids, can you tell parents to get out of the way? Can you tell adults to stop fighting over this? Let's just put masks on, get vaccinated, and get back to school.
The child fatalities draw a lot of attention in your line of work, but it's interesting to note that in the volume of the tragedy, a lot of the death has to do with things that don't involve overt abuse or violence, in particular exposure to substances and then also unsafe sleep habits.
Yes, that's true. The Office of the Child Advocate receives reports of deaths that the Division for Children, Youth, and Families receive reports on. So some of them are children who are involved with the system, and some of them are children who die in unusual circumstances that need to be investigated in case of surviving siblings are at risk. And so the cases that we see, it's very rare that a child dies from abuse or neglect. It's very rare. We did see an uptick in the number of children who died from unsafe sleep practices. What we think we're seeing is people's routines changed during the pandemic. People were napping during the day. People were using substances more or during the day and sleeping in unsafe situations with their children. That includes sleeping with children on the sofa, sleeping in unusual beds that they're not used to, and not having a special safe space for a child. That's so important. It's such a tragic death because it certainly isn't intentional, but people need to understand that children need to sleep on their own in a safe space. And then the other is what we're seeing all across the board is the increase in substance use. New Hampshire has to come to terms with the fact that we have a serious substance use issue here. And it's a little bit awkward because we have a major revenue source that's selling alcohol. And we have to start thinking about that and how we can promote healthier living to protect children.
You also note in your report this crossover between DCYF or Child Protective Service involvement and then eventually the juvenile justice system. It's eye-opening, but not surprising. You did sort of a point-in-time study of the juvenile detention, those who are incarcerated at Sununu Youth Services Center. At that point, you looked, 100% of those children had had prior DCYF involvement. So that crossover is really the kind of the nexus of what's ahead and what you have to work on, and sort of, it's not, an industry, but what the system has to work on. work on.
That's true. And this is part of, advancing the system of care to support families and children long before they're abused or neglected or adjudicated delinquent. And we do see that a lot of children are sort of chronically abused and neglected, but there's never quite a point where the division is able to find for that. There's not enough evidence. They close cases because parents aren't cooperating, and the child is still having that experience. And what's most common, the most common charge that a child is at the Sununu Center for is simple assault, which is usually they finally exhausted with what their parents are doing and they haul off and hit them. And so it's really important to be thinking about how do we support children and how do we understand when they get to the juvenile system that they're actually children who have very significant needs from abuse and neglect, and their parents have needs too, because the onus of responsibility in a child protection case is the parent. The onus of responsibility in a juvenile justice case is the child, and a child cannot be responsible for a dysfunctional family. So we have to find ways to support parents to better understand basic child development, to access services when their child is having trouble, and schools as well to identify things long before they start to see trouble and then they're suspending, expelling. So it's a cascade of things that happen that we need to be more sensitive to way upstream to help families have healthy children and be able to have the skills to deal with conflict when it arises.
Moira O'Neill, New Hampshire's child advocate, thank you so much for joining us on Close Up. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much, Adam. It's been great working with you over the last 4 years.
Likewise.